Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. Welcome to everyone here in person and everyone joining us online, both now and in the future. I am Cory, and I go by the pronouns she, her, hers.
And I'm Yvonne DuVal, and I go by the pronouns she, her, hers. I would like to invite anybody sitting on this side of the sanctuary, if anyone would like to move, there's plenty of seating here, which will be useful as we are singing later. If you are comfortable in your seat, that is fine. You may stay where you are. But if you would like to move, I invite you to do so. We have chosen to bring ourselves here in this sanctuary to gather across generations as a community of faith. We join in solidarity as covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. We draw on experiences of love and wonder to lift our hearts and move us beyond the mundane. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, and creators of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so let us worship together.
Come we now out of the darkness by Anne Forrester. Come we now out of the darkness of our unknowing and the dusk of our dreaming. Come we now from far places. Come we now into the twilight of our awakening and the reflection of our gathering. Come we now all together. We bring our dark caves of doubling. We seek the clear light of understanding. May the sparks of our joining kindle our resolve, brighten our spirits, reflect our love, and unshallow our days. Come we now enter the dawning.
As frozen earth holds the determined seed, this sacred space holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. Let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought, the warmth of community, and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together. Let us light the chalice and worship together. Baby chalice this morning. We will now light the Advent candles, which is a traditional pagan, and the Yule log, which we already have, which is a traditional pagan symbol of the winter solstice and the 12 months of the year we cycle through. It represents the rebirth of the sun, the warmth, and the light. We are waiting. We are waiting for love to be born. We are waiting for hope, for peace to arrive. We are waiting for a rebirth of justice and joy in the human heart. But we are not only waiting, for while we wait, we work. We work to make love and hope and peace and justice and joy everyday realities in our lives and in the lives of all people everywhere. We light the fourth Advent candle in honor of love, the love that casts out fear, the love that fills us with compassion. May our work be blessed. May our hopes be realized. May peace come, beginning in our own hearts. May love surround us and take away our fears. May joy be at the center of our celebrations. If you are joining us, please feel free to fill in towards the front. Plenty of seating up here. So lyrics for this morning's music is in the insert in your order of service. You'll be invited to sing along on several songs today. This first song you will be singing on the chorus. I'm going to be leading you in and letting you know when to stop singing. Other songs are rounds, and so we'll be going around the room and bringing in different parts. So just follow me as we go through this.
this sacred space where we come face to face.
We are a circle within a circle, with no beginning and never ending. We are a circle within a circle, with no beginning and never ending.
In the pagan tradition, which is grounded in a respect and reverence for the natural world, calling upon the four directions is the usual way to begin any ceremony. Each direction is associated with an element of the natural world and represents some part of our human nature as well. The directions are not seen as separate and isolated, but rather as a part of the interdependent system that makes up the world. Here, on our altar, we have the symbolic elements for each direction, and we will walk through the meanings associated with each direction as we engage in our rituals. We invite you to rise and face each direction as we call the elements. We begin in the east toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air, represented on our altar by a feather. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Imagine the birds turning and wheeling in the air. Imagine the breeze blowing through your hair. Turning toward the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you are feeling stuck in a rut, beholden to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, look eastward. We now move to the south. We move around the wheel to the south. The element of the south is fire. And in the southern place on our altar, the flame of our chalice will burn bright. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. In the northern hemisphere, it makes sense that we associate the south towards the equator with the warmth of the sun and the heat of the flame. We see birds move south, butterflies move south, whales move south, seeking warmer places when the weather gets cold. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning toward warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up, get our blood moving, call us out of our winters, out of hibernation and into action. Continuing around the circle, we arrive in the west. The element of the west is water. Water symbolizes the way we come together in community as individual drops join into a mighty river. In the west, we are drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move in us like water, flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like when we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. If you are seeking to get in touch with your inner life, with your emotions, turn toward the west. We move now to the north. The element of the north is earth, represented by soil from our very own garden. There is stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self, with the concrete, tangible world around us. The North calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in your bones, and a place of rest and recovery.
One, two, three, four. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return.
The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return.
Have a seat. We have moved through these four directions and given them shape and meaning. Now I invite you to turn toward the direction that calls to you today. You may stay in your seat, rise, or turn your head or your whole body towards that direction, but orient yourself toward one of the directions, the element that speaks to you and your life right now. As the singing bowl sounds, we will enter into silent meditation. East, air, breath, and inspiration. South, fire, transformation, and action. West, water, feeling, and reflection. North, earth, balance, and wisdom.
The Meaning of the Solstice by Barbara Wells Tenhove. The dark me has come. The earth, in her great dance around the sun, has come inevitably to the solstice, the me of extremes, of distance, of darkness and light. In our hemisphere, we experience this as one of cold darkness, of shortening of days and lengthening nights. The earth is tipping, from our perspective, further and further away from the sun. The spinning dance of the earth continues, but for one brief instant at the solstice, the tipping stops. For a moment, we seem to stand suspended in space. Then, like a child's top that has almost fallen over, we are saved by the spin and lifted up again towards the light.
Now is the time when we engage as a community in the sharing of our joys and sorrows, our concerns and milestones. When we join together to hold each other in support and celebration, we deepen our sense of interrelationship. We may find our sorrows eased and our joys magnified. I invite you to share them now through writing them on a slip at the back of the sanctuary or typing them in the virtual chat. Please indicate whether you would like your message to be shared out loud. You may also honor whatever you are holding in your heart by placing a stone in the water of community. Additionally, we have water collected from our water communion service we held in September. This water symbolizes the way we come together in our community as individual drops into a mighty river. We invite you to partake of the water and bless yourself in a way that is most meaningful to you. You are invited to come forward, moving and returning to your seats in a clockwise direction. Spoken or unspoken, our hearts join with yours in carrying all that life brings. Several joys and sorrows shared this morning. J.D. Stillwater shares, my sister was expedited for gamma knife treatment of her brain tumor. Got it this week and is feeling hopeful. An anonymous share, joyful for my son, David, sobriety. Another anonymous share, money is hard. Debbie shares, my husband Steve is recovering from a heart attack and will be home from the hospital on Christmas Eve. My friend is missing. A joy from Beverly. After 5 years of major life events, I was able to successfully fire my gas killer yesterday. Am I reading that correctly? Kiln. Oh, fire my gas. Get it now. I was thinking like a Prius or something. I place one final stone into our water of community for all who are not here to share with us today, and for all that has been shared and those many concerns we hold deep in our hearts and yet remain unspoken. We journey with each other in love.
Let the Spirit come to you, run through you, renew you. Let the light shine onto you, pursue you, undo you. Let the light shine above you, be of you that loves you. Let the peace settle in you, within you, begin you.
In celebration of the winter solstice by Stephanie Noble. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes a first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.
Thank you. Ushers, can you come forward, please, and pass out? We have the orange oak leaves in the basket and the green holly leaves in another basket, and there's a pencil. So if everybody could take one as I read this story. So the story I have is titled The Oak King and the Holly King. It's a story of Yule for these times. This story is told that in the beginning, there were two gods who were brothers, And like many brothers, they struggled with each other for ascendance and power. One brother was the king of the forces of life, light, and warmth. He wore a crown made of green oak branches and brought with him all growth, vitality, fertility, and abundance. He was called the Oak King. His brother was the king of the forces of death, cold, and darkness. He wore a crown made of the prickly holly branches and brought with him all withering and decay, stillness and hibernation. He was called the Holly King. The brothers were identical in strength, and so year after year, the same pattern was repeated. Each year, the Oak King would grow strong and mighty, and during his time of dominance, the light would gradually increase, bringing its warmth and abundance. But each year, at the height of his power, he would be thrown down by the Holly King. In the wake of the Holly King's victory, the light would gradually wane, and as it did, cold would come and the land would go dormant. But at the height of the Holly King's power, he would be challenged by the Oak King and would fall. And the cycle would repeat again and again and again. Alone, the brothers were equals, but soon there came a race of beings known as people. The people watched this cycle, and pretty soon they began to take sides. The people loved light and warmth, and they feared darkness and cold. And so each year they would celebrate the victory of the Oak King, but they would mourn the victory of the Holly King. When the two struggled with each other, the people would lend their strength of their voices and their bodies, their minds and their spirits to the Oak King. But the Holly King was without their support. And so time went by. Over time, the people's adoration of warmth and light only grew, and so they began to invent ever new ways to find light in the darkness and warmth in the cold. And finally, if they wished it, they could spend all of their time in the light that they had created, and they could be warm all year. But their efforts to stay always in the light and the warmth were not without their consequences. Generations passed, and generations again, and the people did not at first notice the shifts in the balance. But finally, they could ignore it no longer. The people began to notice the darkness, that the darkness was disappearing from the land, driven out by millions of lights the people had created. Animals, birds, plants, even people began to suffer the effects of light, unbalanced by the darkness. But it was not just darkness that was disappearing. Cold began to flee too. The whole world began to get warmer. Summer began sooner and lasted longer. Ice that had been frozen far longer than the longest memory of the oldest person in the land began to melt. Migrating birds and animals began to be confused about when to begin the migration. Plants found themselves rooted in climates that no longer supplied their needs. The air was changing, and the winds that had brought rain and taken it away again began to flow in unexpected directions, causing drought here and a flood there. The people began to see that their support of warmth and light over cold and darkness had altered the balance of the whole world. They began slowly, one at a time, to realize that Holly King was dying. And for the first time, this thought filled them with fear. What would happen if the balance continued to be destroyed? Could they even survive in a world without the Holly King? And in the world of gods, the Oak King realized it too. And though they had been competitors all these many centuries, he also realized that he loved his brother deeply and could not live without him. The longest night came, and the Oak King and the Holly King met again. But this time, the Oak King had no heart for the fight. He laid down his sword and spear. He came open-handed to his brother, who was struggling just to stay on his feet. The Oak King wrapped the Holly King in a tight embrace, and he promised to set aside their hostility and to help the brother heal. On the night when he usually claimed ascendance, the Oak King realized that the world was already too warm and too light. And so he laid the great oak crown on the head of his brother, took his hand, and each supporting the other, they went out into the world to see what could be done to restore balance. So by now, you should have received a holly leaf and an oak leaf. So as we enter into a musical meditation, you will be invited to think about two things. What is it that you want to leave behind? And what are your hopes for the coming year? On the holly leaf, the green paper, you are invited to write a few thoughts about what you wish to leave behind from this year as we begin to leave the long hours of darkness. And on the oak leaf, the orange paper, write a few thoughts about your hopes for the coming year as the days begin to lengthen and we look forward to rebirth and renewal. You are welcome to take these leaves home with you, or you may place them on the table in these baskets. If you choose to place the holly leaves in the basket, I will burn them on New Year's Day, as this is the tradition. But please note that if you are a family with children and you decide to do this, we ask that the children do this activity with their adults. If you choose to place the oak leaves in the basket, I will write them up so that our hopes for the coming year can be placed in our monthly newsletter, The Reporter. Thank you, Hannah. So we all process at different rates. So the baskets will remain on the table to the end of the service if you'd like to add to it.
The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, an intentionally gathered congregation of freely thinking, loving people. The church is created, sustained, and supported by us. Each month, we share half of our Sunday plate with a local nonprofit organization. For the month of December, we are sharing with the Harrisburg Area Food Pantry, formerly known as the Ecumenical Food Pantry. The mission of the Harrisburg Area Food Pantry is to support those in the greater Harrisburg area experiencing food insecurity, primarily by providing emergency food assistance. If you wish to contribute online, visit uchbg.org and scroll to the bottom of the page for giving options. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able.
Always round till morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round till morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, round and round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to morning. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to morning. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to morning. And from round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to morning, and from morning round to
We dedicate these gifts to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of compassion and action, faith and fellowship, hope and wholeness.
In Iran, the winter solstice has been celebrated for centuries and is called the Shabi Yalda, which refers to the birthday or rebirth of the sun. The occasion was celebrated in the festival of Dagon, dedicated to Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Wisdom. Fires would be burnt all night to ensure the defeat of the forces of Ahriman, which is evil, to ensure the total victory of the sun that was essential for the protection of winter crops. There would be prayers to Mithra and feasts in his honor, since Mithra is the deity responsible for protecting the early morning light. Shabbat Yalda by Pasim. A shadow casts across a closing sky where crowds will meet to bid the night goodbye. With hushed excitement, waiting now respite in silence, but for night hawk's eerie cry. This winter solstice fires will burn all night, with sparks cascading, messages in flight, ensuring then defeat of Ahriman, with prayers to Mithra, bringing morning light. A night of celebration to Dagon, with festive food and dance the night began. Their prayers ensure protected winter grain. They wait to see the new sunshine on man. Yalda triumphant, light our darkened plain. Bring forth new life, your love with us remain. Yalda, rebirth, arise, new sun on high. Shabbat Yalda, our son is born again. Choir, please rise.
Please rise in body or spirit as we release the quarters facing each direction in turn. Starting with the north. Spirit of the north, power of earth, we thank you for your gifts of growth and nurturing. We ask for your blessing on this solstice day. Spirit of the north, hail and farewell. To the west, Spirit of the west, power of water, we thank you for your gifts of cleansing and healing. we ask for your blessing on this solstice day. Spirit of the West, hail and farewell. Spirit of the South, power of fire, we thank you for your gifts of passion and transformation. We ask for your blessing on this solstice day. Spirit of the South, hail and farewell. Spirit of the East, power of air, we thank you for your gifts of clarity and inspiration. We ask for your blessing on this solstice day. Spirit of the East, hail and farewell.
And this closing is titled Kindle New Sparks by Deborah Burrell. We have basked in the warmth and beauty of this flame and this community. As the chalice flame is extinguished, let us carry its glow within. Let us kindle new sparks within these walls and beyond. Amen. Blessed be.